We're back from the weekend. It's always a pleasure to have you here on The Pulse. This is Joy News, independent, fearless, and credible. My name is Elton Brobe, and of course, we are live on DSTV channel 421, Go TV 125, or our social media platform. We are streaming live on X Spaces, on YouTube, on Facebook, and of course, on myjoyonline.com, wherever you are watching us from. Now, this afternoon, U.S. Ambassador to Ghana, Virginia Palmer, urges further dialogue after high-level talks on a 10% tariff imposed on Ghana.
Talked about how the relationship with Ghana is very strong and how we can keep it going that way. And the sort of details of what these global tariffs are and some things where the United States and Ghana can improve our trade relations.
Of course, more as the U.S. envoy pushes for continued engagement following the Foreign Affairs Ministry meeting as Ghana reacts to new 10% tariff affecting its export to the U.S. market. Also this afternoon, we've got something from the Tema Oil Refinery. They are making strides under the NDC administration, posting profits within few days of operation. We have details and to share their story with you here on The Pulse, here on Joy News. We also take you to the MPP headquarters where former member of parliament for Domko Abinyasara, Joseph Slams MPP, over poor communication on disciplinary hearing, saying she was not informed about postponement despite showing up at party headquarters this morning.
I think that I should have been served personally, and I haven't received any such notice. That's why I'm here.
Like you said, when it...
I will take you to a farming community, Amenanu, where farmers dig the mud for water to drink. These and many more coming your way this afternoon edition of The Pulse. My name is Elton, but when we settle down, we will delve straight into the issues this afternoon. Welcome back, and of course, we are live on X Spaces, on YouTube, on Facebook, and of course, on myjoyonline.com as well. Now, for U.S. Ambassador to Ghana, Virginia Palmer is urging continued dialogue following a new 10% tariff on Ghana's export to the U.S. market, effective this week. Now, the move has rattled Ghana's private sector with experts warning of major risks to export and revenue. It follows a U.S. decision to cut part of its aid to Ghana, an action President Mahama believes could hurt donor support. He has since directed the finance minister to plug fiscal loopholes. Despite the concerns, Ambassador Palmer remains hopeful Ghana can still benefit from the situation and emphasize the need for deeper engagement between both governments. My colleague Blazer Soga has been speaking with the ambassador, and then let's listen to what she had to say on the tariff.
Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, where the meeting between the U.S. Ambassador Virginia Palmer and, of course, high officials of the Ministries of Trade, Finance, and also now the Foreign Affairs Minister is just concluding. What you see now is that in a few minutes from now, we will see the American Ambassador Virginia Palmer fire out to that meeting. It's been hours of a very engaging moment today that we've seen, and of course you can see the ambassador there filing out after a meeting this morning. But Ambassador, good morning. Do you have any few words to share with us?
Well, I had a great meeting with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and we talked about how the relationship with Ghana is very strong and how we can keep it going that way. And the sort of details of what these global tariffs are and some things where the United States and Ghana can improve our trade relations.
We're in the lowest tariff regime. What does that mean to, between the relations that we have?
Well, I hope that it means that Ghana will have some benefit vis-a-vis its competitors, but we'll dig in and continue to talk.
I feel you've convinced the minister enough.
The minister and I are good friends.
Is a bit high for Ghana.
Well, so there you have it, the U.S. Ambassador to Ghana, Virginia Palmer, speaking to us there exclusively and giving us a sense of perhaps what might have happened throughout the engagement for today live here on the Joy News channel. And you've just got it first on the platform, a clear indication that yes, indeed, that meeting has happened, and you see the U.S. Ambassador filing out of that meeting. We'll be bringing you some updates, but what you've just seen now is just the beginning of a raft of measures that the government of Ghana will be announcing in a couple of days to come, because clearly this engagements will now inform the government better on what might happen in the coming days. We're awaiting an official statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Ministry of Trade, and also the Finance Ministry on what the next steps might be. But indeed, we have gotten that clear indication from the American ambassador yet again, repeating the quote she repeated to us a couple of days ago when she hosted a few of us as journalists, and explaining to us perhaps what might have been going on in the U.S., specifically in Washington. And for her, despite the rhetoric and despite all that's happening in the U.S., Ghana indeed remains important to the U.S., a reason for which she indeed honored the invitation here today, which in diplomatic terms indicates that the ambassador is willing to engage with the Ghanaian counterparts. We're not sure of what the next moves might be. All we've seen so far is the directive from the president indicating to the finance minister to take a number of measures as alternative moves in the wake of the Trump directives. What we're seeing now is in regards to trade, but obviously we're surmising that issues about even foreign aid might feature some more. So what happened last month was that, of course, there was a 90-day pause, and the president had directed the finance minister to find financing gaps and challenges that are being created as a result of the cuts in aid. But a lot more is happening here at the Foreign Affairs Ministry, and we'll be giving you a sense of what will happen beyond the 90-day pause. It's clear now to us that some aid measures will be gone, except to say that lifeline activities will be protected by the U.S. government. They've clearly indicated to us that life-saving measures in terms of health, which is costing us somewhere around 70 million in terms of the aid we're receiving from the United States, will be maintained.
So this is what happened at the Foreign Affairs Ministry this morning after an engagement between the Sector Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa and the U.S. Ambassador to Ghana, Virginia Palmer. Meanwhile, the African ministers responsible for trade are set to hold a crisis deliberation next week following the latest executive order signed by the U.S. President Donald Trump announcing new import tariff for countries across the world. Now, whilst Ghana is attracting a 10% increment, other African countries such as Lesotho, for instance, could be paying as high as 50% on U.S. import tariff when the Trump directive goes into effect on April 9. Now, given the latest development, this is likely impact on African countries. Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Area, Wemkele Mane, has hinted that the Ministers of Trade will meet on 14th April to deliberate on this matter and exactly how our continent should respond.
The President of the United States has given us a wake-up call. And the wake-up call is that we must accelerate our own economic self-sufficiency. The Ministers of Trade will meet on the 14th of April to deliberate on this matter and exactly how our continent should respond.
In the meantime, the Secretariat of the African Continental Free Trade Area has entered into a memorandum of understanding with the National Bar Association of the U.S. Although this engagement is aimed at deepening cooperation, there are fears that U.S. President Donald Trump's rhetoric of America First could leave Africa benefiting less than it should. But Secretary General Wemkele Mane says that will not be the case.
We will continue to pursue that trade and investment partnership that is based on mutual respect and mutual benefits. And this is what we agreed to with Ambassador Tai, the then U.S. Trade Representative. We obviously will not be in a position to condone or support America first and everybody else last. That is not a partnership that is within the spirit of the MOU that we have with the United States. we will pursue what is in Africa's best interests, not last interests, but best interests, as we seek a path forward in respect of AGOA, combined with some of the trade instruments that we have introduced, as well as the overall liberalization objective of the AfCFTA. I believe that we're well positioned as a continent to turn this crisis into an opportunity.
All right, so we'll do some analysis on the back of this story. We're waiting so that our guests can join and that we can have some understanding of what really is going on, what position government can take, because we do understand that the outcome of that discussion between the Minister for Foreign Affairs and the U.S. Ambassador, the Foreign Affairs Minister, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, will be engaging President Mahama, and then perhaps a formal communication on government response to the 10% tariff imposed by the U.S. government will be communicated to the nation. Already, those in the textile industry, those who export to the U.S. market, those who export jam and other exports are already feeling the heat, and they await government response to this particular matter. When we have our guests, we'll bring that conversation to you. But let me take you to the MPP headquarters, because former Member of Parliament for Dom Kwabinya, Sarah Josafo, has expressed her disappointment in the MPP's failure to inform her of the postponement of her appearance before the party's disciplinary committee after meeting just one party officer when she stormed the party's headquarters today. Now, the former deputy majority leader said she was shocked that her party was able to serve her a letter of sermons on Sunday, but could not do the same after the party decided to suspend the meeting. She added that she would be available to appear before the party wherever she's called upon to do so.
Legally, weekends and public holidays are not days properly so-called to serve someone any official notice. But I'm a law-abiding citizen. I'm a lawyer of 23 years standing, and I know what is proper. So when I received the letter, no, it's just 1 day notice. I'm here to appear before the disciplinary committee. So I'm going up, and when I'm done, probably we'll talk again.
Oh, meaning you've not met anybody yet?
I just got in.
Haven't you heard of information that that meeting has been suspended?
I haven't been personally served. You know, when you set a precedent, which is that you serve me to appear personally, which was yesterday, I haven't seen anything with my security guard as they did yesterday that tells me that anything has been postponed.
But for clarity, you may have heard, but officially you've not been notified of it.
I haven't heard. I got it yesterday, and I've been with my colleague lawyers in my law firm trying to prepare to be here. So whatever you're talking about, I think that I should have been served personally, and I haven't received any such notice. That's why I'm here.
Like you said, when you climb upstairs and there's nobody there, what are you going to do? Are you going to bounce back?
Let's not preempt. But it's rather a premature question. It's moot at the moment. Let me get upstairs, see whether the committee members are there. If there's any other party official here to talk to me, if there's been a postponement or whatever, I don't know. But I've been summoned to appear.
Something that this process is selective and also an attempt to gag you.
Let me go upstairs, and then when I'm done, I'll come back and talk.
Thank you very much.
Right, so that meeting did not come off today because the party had earlier announced an indefinite postponement of that particular engagement. Yet, the former Member of Parliament, together with their supporters, thronged the party headquarters, hoping to engage the disciplinary committee of the party and then to respond to some issues that have been raised against her. So why was she not informed about the postponement? Let me bring in the Deputy General Secretary of the MPP, Haruna Mohammed. Haruna, you're welcome to the Post. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Alton.
So the former Member of Parliament is claiming that she was unaware of the postponements. Why was she not informed?
Thank you very much, Alton, for this question to seek clarity to this emerging matter. As a matter of fact, I must say clearly that it's unfortunate that this is what we are getting out there with respect to whether she has gotten the invitation or she has been given the letter of postponement. What I do know is that the invitation or the postponement was given to her, and I received her at the party headquarters because we had another meeting which was basically to look at certain electoral issues that has emanated from the 2024 general elections. So in that meeting, I heard some noise out there. Then I went out to find out what exactly the matter was. And it was Honorable Adwoa Safo who had come following the earlier invitation. I went there on the authority of the General Secretary as the deputy to meet with her and to confer with her and reminded her of the letter that has been sent to her. In fact, her aide has the letter and the lawyer has the letter and confirmed to the dispatcher of the letter. However, she is saying that she has not seen the letter. Well, the intent of the letter is the postponement, and the disciplinary committee has a way in which they deal with such matters when it comes to issuance of letters. What we know is that the disciplinary committee is a standing committee of National Council, and it is not letters that are issued by the General Secretary of the party.
Right.
If there are letters that are issued by General Secretary of the party, I, Haruna, would have informed you, giving you all the details of the recipients. However, these two recipients that I have mentioned could have also received it without relaying to them. But we can confirm that the two persons that I've mentioned, the aide and the lawyer, did confirm, and we have the electronic confirmation of the lawyer of receiving the notice of postponement. So it's not going to be a debate between us and Honorable Adwoa because she's a senior member of the party, a former member of parliament, a former minister, and a former leader in Ghana's parliament. So the essence of it is that it's been postponed, and the disciplinary committee will inform her through the secretary, which is Honorable Patrick Boama, when a new date is set. And I believe that this settles the matter.
So if a letter went, it would have come from Honorable Patrick Boama, who is secretary to the disciplinary committee, and not the party as a whole.
Definitely not the general secretary.
And
it comes from the disciplinary committee.
And at this stage, you cannot tell whether Honorable Patrick Boama notified Adwoa Safo of the change in her appearance.
I can confirm that there was a notice of that, and I understand it was sent through 3 lines. And also electronically, and the aide also had it, and the lawyer also had it. When I met her, I pointed that to her, but she chose to still have the interview, which is within her right. But what I am telling you officially is that she was given the letter, and she said she did not get it. But I've made it clear to you that 2 persons, the aide and the lawyer, which I had the electronic confirmation of the lawyer who received the notice of postponement.
Right. The final matter on this, and then I'll bring you to some other issues. We also have on the line the Deputy Director of Operations at the Jubilee House. Something is happening at Kanda. We'll get to understand what really is going on there. But Mustafa, Haruna, tell me, why the postponement?
I am not a member of the committee. I'm a member of the National Secretariat of the party, headed by the General Secretary. So why the postponement would be properly answered by the Secretary of the committee, which is Honorable Patrick Boama, or the Chairman, the former Road Minister, Honorable, the former Road Minister, Amakwata, will be able to answer that because I'm not a member of the committee and I have not been briefed as to why the postponement has come.
All right. Can you hold it for him? Because I come back to today with other matters that the party has taken a position on relating to these aircraft and matters. But breaking news this afternoon is that the National Security Operatives, in a joint operation with the police and military, have arrested a Nigerian businessman, Ben Peters, at the Aurora apartment in Kanda near the Jubilee House. Also, part of the operation is Richard Jakpa, Deputy Director of Operations at the Presidency, Mustafa Gbande. What really is going on at Kanda? Let me bring in Mustafa Gbande, who is the Deputy Director of Operations at the Presidency. Mustafa, so what is happening at Kanda? Why is this Nigerian businessman Ben Peters under arrest?
So good afternoon and good afternoon to our cherished listeners and my brother at the other side. What's happening is that this morning around 9 a.m., we received a distress call from the apartment, which is about 800 meters from the Jubilee House, Nora apartment, you know, the 37 vicinity where the Ghana Water Company is.
Right.
We dispatched police officers to go there and only to receive a report that there are a couple of young men dressed in black suit, armed to the teeth, have blocked the entrance of the apartment with about 20 vehicles. They won't allow anybody to go in. They won't allow anybody to come out. So I actually followed up myself. They will not budge. And all of it was at the command of businessman Benedict Peters, who claimed that the apartment, the residence is owned by Tasako, and that they have failed to give him multiple keys to a number of apartments numbering up to about 8 he owns on that building.
Right.
That is why he has blocked the place. So we ransacked all the boys, picked them up. We requested that since he has blocked, roadblock is a crime.
Right.
The police should take him to the police station. He refused. We're told that anybody who comes up, he will fire a weapon. And so we called for reinforcement. We managed to arrest him, and he's been sent to police regional CID for further interrogation. This same individual, we found him owning a number of vehicles using police sirens. You all know that siren vehicles are not allowed for private individuals in this country.
Right.
He owned a number of pickups with floodlights, sirens, and all of that. He's running a team of security individuals. And you also know that you cannot run a security organization in this country if you are not permitted by the Ministry of Interior.
Right.
And then we found in his possession a number of SUVs unregistered, numbering about 20, Escalade vehicles, very expensive, high-class vehicles, and a police motorcade, of which a number plate was not on it. All of these evidences have been given to the police for further interrogation.
So let's start one by one. So first of all, you encountered some men dressed in black holding weapons. Are they state security officials, private individuals?
These guys were not, on our interrogation, are not state officials. They are Benedict Peters' personal security guards.
And they are holding weapons?
These were concealed threats. I have not seen a gun, but they told the officers that if they came in, they were going to fire. And that was what caught our attention. And this was just in close proximity with the Jubilee House. And so we went there, and truly the guys were there, numbering about 60 to 70 of them. I mean, the whole place was flooded by his boys, all dressed in coats, black suit, and white inner shirt, with pickups yielding sirens and floodlights. And that is when our worry became very intensified. And truly we found a number of things under under park of the building where they park the vehicles, including the motorcade. And I was wondering why a private individual would be this powerful in our country, rubbish our laws, does what they want, render citizens helpless, and actually keep them at rampage. It's unlawful. And so he's been handed over to the police for further interrogation.
What about the men you met holding weapons?
We've ransacked all of them.
So they also arrested as well?
Them. Yes, we ransacked all of them. Okay. They were arrested.
So apart from the vehicles you found in the premises, you say he was also keeping certain items. Which other items did you uncover?
Apart from the vehicles in the compound, we found a number of SUVs, sophisticated SUVs, without number plates, unregistered vehicles, and then a police motorcade. So all of these will be investigated by the police. Why a motorcade was parked at that residence, at that garage.
And are you able to tell whether a police officer was involved since you came across a police motorcade?
We did not find a police officer or any regular or official officer in this matter. They were all private young men. His own built-up army of young men. He equipped them with vehicles. The vehicles all have floodlights and sirens. And so that was surprising. And I'm wondering if he runs a private security company. Even if you do, would you have the right to deploy such young men to, block a road, block an entire building at the expense of other Ghanaians and diplomats who live in that particular building, only because the owners or the managers of the residents have not given you keys? And that is all it is, keys. And so we have asked the police to invite the managers or the owners of the residence for investigation to ascertain why we got to this level of disruption.
All right. So you know how many people have been arrested?
A number of them, about 20 of them or 25 of them. Benedict Peters himself and another white man who we found in his room, his apartment. When we got there, we were able to get into the apartment. Okay. All of them have been taken to the regional police.
This Ben Peters, do you know his occupation, what exactly he's doing in Ghana?
Allegedly, this is the man that President Akufo-Addo used to run the COVID deal. You remember the man who ran the office, the COVID infrastructure that everybody was paying to him.
Are you making reference to Frontiers?
That is Benedict Peters, yes, that is Benedict Peters. So a number of these cases are already pending, only for him to, out of impunity, get to this level. And I think that we shouldn't run a country where foreigners take all of us for granted. And you can hold a whole infrastructure of residents to ransom only because you label yourself a big man. This is not Akufo-Addo's regime. This is a new regime where the law will work. Number one, as a private individual, you do not have the right to run an organized police or an organized security group without approval from state security. Also because you are a foreigner. Number two, you do not have the right to run vehicles with sirens and police floodlights on them. Number three, you don't have the right to roadblock, deny access to an apartment when you know that it's a commercial place and it is not the case that you are the only individual living there, but many other people, including diplomats. In fact, the husband of the Spanish ambassador was almost crying. All of them cannot go into their house, and that happened close to 3 hours.
But Mustafa, this clearly falls in the region of a civil matter between occupants of an estate and somebody who claims to also own part of the estate. And I'm wondering why a whole national security will get involved, and then with people like yourself leaving the Jubilee House to get involved. The police could have easily handled this matter.
National security came subsequently. I was there myself. National security came subsequently. Initially, a team of police officers were deployed to the place. When they met the huge number of his bodyguards or his security team, they called for reinforcement. Reinforcement came from Greater Accra. And then Benedict Peter was hiding in one of the apartments. He would never come out. So they had to search for him. And so reinforcement came. By the time National Security got there, he was arrested and taken away. So National Security would then come and, impound all the vehicles we've seen there and do some investigation also to ascertain whether or not there are documents to it, tax have been paid and all of that. And so to the extent that you have a private matter with other people, it's not enough to roadblock access to other citizens to an apartment. Number two, it is not enough to raise a team or an army of a security team without lawfully being licensed or permitted by the state. You are aware that even in our own country, you cannot run sirens as private individuals.
Right.
So how is it the case that you have all these sirens to the extent of a motorcade in your apartment?
So the media reports also suggest that Mr. Peters went into hiding and refused arrest until the president's brother, Ibrahim Mahama, showed up at the scene.
That is not true. He refused arrest. He went into hiding. We looked for him, found him, brought him down before Mr. Ibrahim Mahama arrived. He was also alarmed when he heard of the disruptions going on because he's a resident.
Mr. Ibrahim Mahama didn't come there to... Say that again. Mr. Ibrahim Mahama is a resident of this estate.
Yes. Oh. And so when I also spoke, a couple of individuals also called me because they heard I was there to find out what was going on, only to hear the story. And all of them are unfounded.
So it's not the case that Mr. Ibrahim Mahama presence got him to leave his hiding place and then subsequently he was arrested?
Well, at the end of the day, the suspect is arrested. The police managed to arrest him. We got him, we brought him down, and then subsequently he was taken to regional police. In fact, the regional police commander also arrived even after the men had been able to successfully arrest him.
Okay.
There was no abuse, there was no any differences. Respectfully, we arrested him. I told him that, look, you have to hand yourself over to the police, go with them and make a statement, and then the police will take over from there. At the end of the day, he knows he's broken the law.
Final question will be, you say that this is the same person you've been looking for until this matter came up this morning. Is he also involved in other cases of national interest?
No, I'm just saying that this is a man who, have, in collusion with President Akufo-Addo and his people, squandered COVID money. You are aware. All of us have been aware. Frontiers, the popular Frontiers matter, is Benedict Peters. And so that same impunity would be what will lead to the extent that you can run an institution as if you are a president in another man's country. You build an army without authorization. So we sit here and people breed terrorists and terrorism with their, privately acquired wealth to undermine our national security interests and do what exactly they want to do without respect to our laws.
All right.
He cannot do this in Nigeria.
All right.
He can't.
So now this
Benedict can't do this in Nigeria.
So now this is a matter for the police to continue with their investigation and possibly...
It's a clear matter for the police to deal with. National security would also have to collaborate with other security agencies to impound all the other vehicles that were seen for further investigation to ascertain whether they came into the country legitimately and that the taxes have been paid or not. All these things will have to be done.
All right, Mr. Wagbande, thank you so much for that clarity on this matter. And he is the Deputy Director of Operations at the Presidency, Musa Wagbande, also a Deputy General Secretary of the NDC. The breaking news this hour is that national security operatives in a joint operation with the police and the military have arrested a Nigerian businessman, Ben Peters, at the Aurora Apartments in Kanda near the Jubilee House. The operation led by Wechi Jakpa and Deputy Director of Operations at the Presidency, Wissawa Gbamde, followed reports that Peters, along with some unidentified armed men, had blocked the apartment entrance with his vehicle, denying other residents access. And we'll follow up and bring you more on this matter. But Haruna Mohammed is still with me on Zoom. So Haruna, different matter I want to pick your brains on, but do you have any reaction to what just happened at Kanda, as you know, as clarified by Musa Babwande?
Thank you, Elton. I would have treated this matter purely on security matters, on a national security matter. However, my good brother was given a very good narrative until he sought to do propaganda in some parts of that particular breaking news. Well, crime is a crime, and I believe that this is purely a national security matter. Ghana is a very peaceful country. We must allow everybody to go about doing their businesses in a rightful manner. For us, we know that we handed over a peaceful country to President John Dramani Mahama. And the last time I checked, among the former presidents of the Republic of Ghana, apart from those who are military persons who either won elections lawfully or came through coup, none of the presidents or former presidents have hold a gun to protect themselves because of insecurity, except the current president in his first term had to purchase a gun in his own name to defend himself. And we know that in this country, it is only the president and the vice president. And the president is the key official who is protected by national security. And if at a point in time, the president himself had to buy a gun for his personal use, that tells you how insecurity the country was. So I don't pray that Ghana should get to that stage under this particular second term of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. I leave the matter on the national security to handle that and make sure that the laws of Ghana work.
The party issued a statement supporting your ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee on this matter of 2 aircraft that landed at the Koteka International Airport. And the allegation from the minority side that it may have brought in cocaine and took away cocaine. The NDC have been swift and direct in criticizing the manner in which your member, Reverend John Ntimfodjo, brought forth these matters. They describe it as lies and something that the government intends to make an example of him. Now the party is fully backing him. To what extent are you doing this? The claim here is that if indeed the allegation is true, the Reverend Ntimfodjo should provide the necessary evidence to put this matter to rest.
I think that this country is grounded on the rule of law. Reverend Ntimfodjo is a member of the New Patriotic Party. He represents his constituents on behalf of the ticket of the New Patriotic Party. He is the ranking member on Defense and Interior, and his duty is to check or fact-check the government relative to security and defense matters. That we think that Ghana should be well aware of that. Not long ago, members of parliament in the NDC were bringing up matters that were very flimsy, matters that people were even laughing at them. But in all these things, they called the shot for matters to be investigated. If Reverend Ntimfodjo is bringing up a matter relative to our peace and security, and also bordering on money laundering, bordering on dispatch and traveling of cocaine and whatever, we need as a country to get the security couples to get to work and investigate and report. You don't need the information minister or government spokesperson to come out and peddle falsehood in an attempt to discredit the good reverend. You see, the response of government is much given the international community and the people of Ghana some particular mindset to ask questions. Why is it that a plane that has been parked within the premises of the airport, hoping, and they came from a particular country to Ghana. And then there were questions on this particular matter. The Ghana Airport Company is not talking. The Ghana Civil Aviation is not talking. The Narcotic Control Board is not talking. Other security couples that are supposed to do investigations on this and to report, because any other plane that flies from any country to another country, details of the plane and the departure of the plane and the items that the plane is carrying is known. We all know that the country that this plane is coming from is a country that is known for money laundering, and everybody knows. We also know that this plane is meant to be carrying patients. It's an ambulance. And this particular aircraft landed in Ghana on a particular day. Felix comes to tell us that the plane came from Rwanda, when in fact the plane came from,
somewhere in Spain. An island in Spain.
Yes, from an island. So it came in. Then he says that it came with a fault. He mentioned a flight number, that the flight came from another country. In fact, when the flight also came from the same country, and then when the flight also landed, Phillips told us that the flight also, it left on the 25th, when the flight left on the same 22nd to another country and traveled to 3 other countries before coming back to Ghana and leaving on 24th. And the main plane that they said it has issues is the plane that left on the 25th. Again, another flight also had an issue, which Reverend Intimfo is also reporting. And in all these instances, is government spokesperson who are so much interested in communicating and giving wrong clarity to those matters. Even the flight that they are reporting that they are flaming, and then the flight is there, and what time, at any point in time that flight lands in Ghana, then you will see them using a phone, you see a whole crew, you see people in their jacket, they stand in there and they are flaming. When in fact that particular flight in question that the government communication is talking about for 3 good months has not even visited Ghana. Except to say that a particular flight, which is currently even at the airport, it is that particular flight they went to shoot. So what at all is the government hiding? The money that was busted and was reported by the media, up to today, we don't even know where the money is. We don't know.
In fact, over the weekend, Mr. Richard Jakpa, together with some media houses, went to this scene, and then, the news is that the money in question is counterfeit, but then also raises you about the container that was used to house the money. And he says that those containers are the ones that Bank of Ghana use in cutting money. So that is the latest on that particular matter.
So you see, these are the questions all of us, as a media, the third arm of government, we have to all look at. When the container issue was reported, it wasn't reported as counterfeit. Check the time. What is the number of months that has been used for them to come and tell us? It's more than a month.
Right.
It's more than a month. The money was seized. The container was broken into. They checked. They saw everything. It was reported to all of us that this is what has been found. And in fact, we are confirming that this is the type of container that the Bank of Ghana uses when they are. So what has happened to the money? Is it that somebody has changed the substance, the real form of money, to a counterfeit money? This is what civil society should be interested.
Right.
This is what our religious body should be interested. The media and the foreign institutions must be interested, because this is something that Ghana frowns on.
Okay.
It has to take Akufo-Addo to work on Ghana to be taken out of some of this particular list in 2021 because of the nature of Ghana that was placed under the previous NDC government.
All right.
So we need clarity on these matters. We are seeing containers being missing. Today we are seeing excavators. About 40 of them are also missing. We have seen their hoodlums run into state institutions, carry rice, carry oil, carry a whole lot of things. Up to today, none of them have returned those particular items. We need a state of Ghana where we have peace, where our properties are protected. This is not the reset that the people of Ghana voted for.
We'll leave it here for now.
On some of these matters.
Haruna Mohammed, thank you so much for your time. We'll leave it here for now. The party has taken a position on that. We'll follow through and see how this matter will be resolved. But early on, I brought you the story of the U.S. president imposition of tariff on countries around the world. The base imposition is 10%. That is what affected Ghana. Now, this morning, the U.S. ambassador to Ghana met with Ghana's Foreign Affairs Minister, to further discuss this particular matter. And the information we have is that the outcome of that meeting will be a subject of discussion between the Foreign Minister and President John Mahama, after which a formal communication would be told Ghanaians. But the minority last week released a statement calling for some kind of attention to certain aspects or certain segments of the economy that export directly to the U.S. market, and what government can do to deal with the concerns that they may have. It's good time to bring in the ranking member on the Trade and Industry and Tourism Committee of Parliament, Michael Ochre-Berfi. Oscar, good afternoon and welcome to the Pulse.
Good afternoon, Team Charlie. How are you, son?
Good. It's been a while.
Yeah, a very long time, my brother.
So, first of all, tell us, is exporters, especially those who export to the U.S. market, are they in any danger of having their costs go up because of this imposition?
Absolutely, my brother. I mean, my greetings to your team and your good listeners. I guess you know that is the ultimate. That is what is going to happen now. I mean, we believe that over the period we have enjoyed this concession from the U.S. government through the African Growth and Opportunity Act. You know that the program is supposed to end in September 2025.
Yes.
And the U.S. government last year advertised their intentions to extend the agreement. So we're so sure that the agreement was going to be extended for another 5 years. But unfortunately for us, that is what the president of the U.S. has done. See, somehow, we looked at it from a different angle. First, the fact that U.S. has not given us this concession on a reciprocity arrangement.
Right.
It is purely, ex gratia arrangement, concession, giving us another 34 sub-Saharan African countries the opportunity to export to the U.S. market duty-free, quota-free for all this while. But we anticipated that the time is coming that America one day will say that they are no more interested in that arrangement, and therefore they want to seize the opportunity. Note that Ghana still imposed tariffs on goods that come from the American country.
For 17%.
70%. So it means that America has given us a lot, and we are so grateful to them. We don't take this for granted at all. But the reality is that now we are in this situation, and we need to pick up a very good arrangement to be able to save our manufacturers, especially exporters, into the U.S. market. You know, all the other trade blocs have given us agreements. Now we have agreement with UK. European Union has come out with agreement. So my point is that it is time Africa decide to take our own destiny into our own hands and make sure that we do business amongst ourselves. And luckily for us, the African Continental Free Trade Area has come as a savior, to help us. Also note that in this budget, the budget that was presented to Ghana last 3 weeks didn't clearly give us a very clear policy direction on export, which is also another problem. And so, looking at all these things, now Ghanaian goods that are mostly exported to the U.S. market are going to suffer tariffs, which means that it's also going to be expensive in the U.S. market and very, very competitive in business. So, definitely, we are going to have issues. People are not going to patronize our products anymore, or they may even reduce the quantities they buy, which ultimately also affects the manufacturing class. It means that there will be a lot of job cuts and stuff like that. So these are things that we wanted to draw attention of government. Government will at least do something about it immediately.
Right, and in your statements, you offer some recommendations. You are calling for diversification of export markets. government support for exporters, product diversification and value addition, negotiation and diplomacy, enhanced competitiveness, and policy clarity. You are certain that if government should adopt these 6, if you like, areas that you think that if government should exploit, the imposition will not have any effects, or if the effect will be there, will be minimal to exporters and, of course, to our overall, agenda of becoming an export-led economy.
That's right. I think so. I'm so much convinced, beyond every reasonable doubt, that these recommendations we have suggested to government will clearly give us a very good way to be able to get our access back. Because the truth of the matter is that, countries, the manufacturing class, the sector, and those into value addition and those into export into the American market have started showing signs of displeasure. And if we don't take care, and government does not boldly come out with, clear-cut remedies, it will create a lot of problems for us as a country. And one of the key things that we are looking at, apart from those things that we recommended, is also taking full advantage of the African Continental Free Trade.
Right.
You know that the African Continental Free Trade now is the biggest customs union in the world.
Right.
We are talking about almost a combined GDP of almost about $5 trillion US dollars. We are talking about a market size of over 2 billion. So this is what Ghana needs, or Africa needs. The biggest customs union. We can do business amongst ourselves and still generate a lot of money that will help us to be sustainable and also create opportunities for our people. And that is what we need to do. We cannot over-rely on America. America now is not the old America we knew. Now America is the new America, and they want to somehow stand on its feet and make sure that people don't take advantage of them. So as an African, and you realize what we did. In our term, President Akufo-Addo intentionally, tasked us to come out with a framework, a specific framework on the African Continental Free Trade, and also to set up a local office called the National Coordination Office, so that we can intentionally start what we call the guided trading.
Right.
And so we'll help exporters to go into the other African markets to do business. And also there should be also some money injection into the system to intentionally support those who are into export. That is the only way Ghana can work well within this arena, especially in the area of export trade.
I have heard, and then help us understand it even better, because you served as also a deputy minister for trade in the latter years of the Akufo-Addo administration. We've been told, and we've heard since this imposition came into fruition, that that sector of the economy that will be hardest hit are those in the apparel business. And if you go to Accra, you find so many businesses employing thousands of Ghanaians, and they say that those will be the hardest hit, and those also exporting yam. Are these just the two areas that should be of concern to us?
No. We only cited these examples. Now in the apparel and garment industry, Ghana is doing so well. We used to be the leader in the sub-region, but now Benin is coming up. Ghana, one of the companies called DTRT, I don't know whether you know about them. DTRT alone employs about 6,000 workers. 6,000
doing 24-hour.
And it can even serve as an anchor for their so-called 24-hour economy. And so 24-hour economy business. Because the point is that you are looking for opportunity to employ a lot of people. And America gave us an opportunity through AGWA. And through AGWA, we could export 6,700 plus products that U.S. market duty-free, quota-free. That was extremely phenomenal and gave us a lot of leverage in business. And now we're going to lose these opportunities. And so we have to now find a replacement of either through diplomacy or, strict policy, clear policy direction to help us to be able to navigate into the export trade system.
But my final question will be, I know that Parliament is on recess, and so perhaps any talk of summoning the Trade Minister to brief the House on what government measures are to deal with this matter may have to wait until the House is back. I've just been reading what Donald Trump is saying, and he's not backing down. In fact, he's calling on Americans to be strong and resolute in the face of the immediate challenges that they may face, but look to a brighter future in the future, meaning that this is going for the long haul. In the absence of perhaps getting to understand government position through parliamentary tools, what do you expect the Trade Ministry to do now, or better still, the presidency?
For me, there should be a clear policy direction for export trade. And government must intensify its work, in terms of trying to motivate the industrial sector of the economy. You know that the government has now abolished the 1D1F policy. And there was no clear replacement for the 1D1F. It's only what they call feed the industry policy. But that one was also not so resourced. The budget allocation was very minimal, and we cannot say that can help the industry. There should be an intentional effort by government to grow the industrial sector. That is the only way we can move on as a country and be very sustainable in our daily. That's the only way out. If we cripple industry, we'll be in trouble. And so government, apart from what they are doing to diplomacy, what the Minister for Foreign Affairs did this morning with the U.S. Ambassador, it's good. Trying to work out something through diplomacy is good. But let us look at injecting some serious motivation into the industrial sector intentionally to be able to boost or grow the sector. That is the only way we'll be able to produce more and export more, gain a lot of forex to help us sustain and strengthen our currency and economy.
All right, we'll leave it here for now. Honorable Michael Oshibefi, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. And of course, in the studio is Dr. Suleimana, CEO of Tema Oil Refinery. You are here for a different subject, but this matter, since the imposition started, the imposition was announced last week, and the discussions around it. Any thoughts you want to share?
On what?
On the U.S. 10% tariff. Any thoughts you want to share?
Oh, yes. So what I will always say is that it is an opportunity. Every challenge is an opportunity for you. I see it as a global challenge that we need to find ways out. So I will say that probably that tells us that we need to look inwards and become self-reliant. And that comes to the fact that if we depend so much on ourselves and our own resources, what God has given us, endowed us with, I think most of these things we're not going to be hit hard when these external shocks are coming. So it's just telling us that, yes, we have to see that the global environment is not the same. We have to adjust to be able to fit in. And I believe, depending on our internal capabilities in terms of the resources that we have, so that we don't excessively depend on export. We have potential to export, but we don't depend too much on importation of what we can have control over. I'm sure if you are able to get this right, most of this global dynamics that nobody has control sometimes, we'll be able to find a way through that, yeah.
Right, and that's the CEO of the Tema Oil Refinery. Now, this man is doing magic at all. I'll tell you when we come back from this short break. Few weeks in office and already he's posting profits. When we come back, we'll digest that. Stay right there. This is The Pulse. We shall be back. Welcome back. This is The Pulse here on Joy News. Now, let's move to some other stories. And this is a good story. The commercial division of the Tema Oil Refinery has launched a 2025 on an exceptional note, shattering expectations by more than doubling its fuel revenue target. The division raked in over $2.9 million, surpassing the projected $1.6 million United States dollar. This sets a new benchmark as the refinery is highest monthly revenue in the past 3 years. That's 150.2% if you want to put it that way. And this is how we want to illustrate what has just happened at all for you. So in millions, if you like, toll revenue target. This is just for the month of February 2025. They targeted 1.16 and ended up with 2.91, almost $3 million US. So the question really is, what does this signal mean for the resurgence for toll commercial operations? We are joined in the studio by the man who was here right after President Mahama nominated him for the position of CEO, Dr. Yusuf Sulemana. Doctor, you're welcome to the Pulse.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And it's a good story you bring.
Yes.
From 1.1 to 1.6. Yeah. And this is an organization, if you like, that a lot of people have written them off. For some, it doesn't even exist in their head. What happened in February or what happened from January that you are posting these figures?
Yeah. So thank you very much. And your question is not out of place because we have a lot of people asking. We are not seeing flare. Refining is not running. These figures, are they conjured or, they are actual figures? So what I would say is that though we are saying that it's Commerce Division, I think the kudos goes to the entire workforce for their resolute in championing the strategy that we seek to champion when we came to take the mantle. So what we seek to do, when we came, we look at the core business. That's our target. We need to go into the core business. But before the core business, what is currently existing? What can we do to maximize the potential? So we have a simple strategy we call sweating the asset. And every single worker knows that. Sweating the asset means that maximizing the potential of every unit within the refinery to squeeze out whatever we can squeeze out with available resources. And if you look at the refinery, once we are waiting for the core business, there's a lot of activity ongoing.
Right, like what example?
Yes, so we have something called the terminal business.
Okay.
So the terminal business comprises of we taking custody of products from BDCs and other PSPs that the petroleum service provided. We store it in our tanks. We use our pumps to transfer it to wherever they need it and when they need it. Now, storing it in the tanks, we charge $5 per metric ton.
Right.
And then even when we're going to do the loading, within the loading gantry, we have a fee, about $7 per metric ton like that. Now, so when the volumes increase and surge within the period, and then we are able to store, and with the kind of storage capacity that TOR is endowed with, these revenues are even something that we can do better. I can tell you that TOR has almost the largest storage capacity, and that's not by mistake. A refinery in its nature seeking to go through massive expansion in the near future. We have about 59 tanks. Storage capacity closer to 800,000 metric tons.
800,000 metric
tons plus. Now imagine even whilst we're waiting for the core business, we are to monetize the storage capability. Just multiply 800,000 by 5. That's in nominal terms. You can imagine that's about 4 million. But of course, not all these tanks are available. Now, when you come to the loading gantry also, that is where we had most of the revenue coming in. And what we simply did was that myself and my team, we went through the whole chain. We look at where wastages are, where the time is being spent so much. We had meeting with the customs, we had meeting with the national security, we had meeting with the delivery, all the chain, even to the loading gantry. We tell them, this is very important. Every single second spent in wasting time
is money loss.
It's money loss. And I think it yielded a lot of results. So, but though it is saying that Commerce Division, but I can tell you that, especially security, they were at the forefront, especially when we need to load extended period of hours. We can talk about even our regulator. We need to load up to 5:30. NPA had consistently been very cooperative. They have been able to extend the time up to 10 p.m. 10 p.m. Oh, yes. So
the possibility to even do 24 hours.
Oh, yes. So
is something that can
we have even sent letter to the MDR. My good friend, the CEO there, is very welcoming that we can even try the shift system. So now we can do up to 10. We only need 2 hours to make it 12 and run the shift system.
Right.
And so that is what has happened. That is what has changed. So it is just telling us that if you look at that terminal business and then the entirety of the assets, we have the commercial bit of it and the technical bit of it. Whilst we are waiting for the technical bit of it, where we need to install some gauges to be able to gauge and do product accounting in record time, the commercial bit of it, where probably we can extend the time, cut the time wastage and other things, it is the one that has accumulated to what we have today. And so, yes, it didn't come out of blue. There's some work that went through. They always say that success comes when an opportunity meets a prepared environment.
Right.
So I believe our guys were prepared. The opportunity came with a huge amount of volumes, and we took advantage, and that culminated. And I can tell you that even March, the figures in March are more.
It may even go up.
Yes, yes.
So this to almost $3 million from two sources: the storage, and then the loading department.
And not actually, there are a lot of them, but these are the two main ones. We have something called throughput. Let's say when somebody passes the product through our system, we have a charge. When we use the pumps there to take the pump from one place to maybe a BDC, we call it maybe some just pump, because Tor has that capacity to be able to, the BDC will store, we can decide to take it to any other terminal that we want. Right. We charge that. So we call it right of way, we call it throughput, all that. So this is even outside the core business. So we thought that once we are waiting for the core business, we can still maximize the asset. We can still, and then the workers bought into the strategy that let everybody sweat the asset, including the personnel. And I say, again, kudos to the hardworking personnel within the refinery that they've responded to the strategy that we put in place.
And that's the reason why we are seeing this.
And then be able to take advantage when the advantage was there. And then that's why we are.
And you even say that even with the storage, you are not even doing your full capacity.
At all.
Meaning there's still room to generate even more revenue from this sector.
There's still opportunity to generate. And that's how come we're calling for investment opportunities within our tank system, within our tank farm, within our loading country. And the beautiful thing is that a lot of people, even before this news, a lot of people are showing so much interest. But it beat my imagination, especially when we used to hear that as if Tor is written off. And you're right. Tor cannot do anything. And saying that Tor is a viable entity. It is still key to our energy security. It is still a force to reckon with. All right? So you can imagine, Elton, whatever has happened within the month of February, March, there isn't any investment that has
coming. This is internally generated funds.
Let me in quotes, the wear out asset, let me put it that way, the asset is struggling, that requires a lot of retooling. That kind of asset that will maximize the potential of it, that has resulted in what we are seeing today.
Is this the same storage plant or storage division that a former energy minister, Dr. Matopoku Prempeh, said that he gave Tor business and they couldn't even account for the fuel that he gave them? So what has changed in your time that perhaps efficiency and professionalism has now been retooled at all?
So what has changed is just we're trying to put into the workforce that we are strangers, though we have been there before. We have come to support you do your business. If you cooperate with us, it is good for all of it. And I think they all bought into that. And what I tell them, most of the interactions that the management will tell them, is that everybody is like an MD in your place. And everybody is supposed to be accountable for whatever is within your domain. And I think that has resonated to the extent that I mentioned to them that if you're in a division and something goes wrong, you are fully responsible for that.
Right.
And so everybody is sweating himself or herself, including the fiscal assets that are there. And I think with this one, it has increased a lot of efficiency, within the shortest possible time. Our only hope that this is not going to be a 9-day wonder. We're going to increase that efficiency. And I think with that efficiency, even when the core business comes, we can do it and do it better. And bear in mind, the terminal business that is currently breaking this epic proportion is not excluded from the core business.
Right.
If you do it well, and we even come to the core business, we can even do it better.
So what is the plan to get Tor to focus on its main mandate? The last time we were here and we spoke, you said you needed at least $10 million from government to start put things in order. I don't know whether that $10 million has been given to you already.
Not at all. I said for the primary unit, if we get 10 to 25, in fact, it's almost ready to run, the crude distillation unit. Only few things that we need to put in place. We have some few liabilities that we need to, just put in place. We have equipment that have been installed. We need to commission them. With 10 to 25, the CD will be in good shape. But not that amount is required for the retooling. No, that's for that's only for the CD. Yes, we haven't. But with this trajectory, a lot of people are showing interest. And I even believe if government is not in a position to support, though we still probably think if government can support, well and good. But if government is not even in position to support, with so much interest, especially within the private community, where they say they want to partner with Tor. We have a lot of people who are expressing interest in partner with Tor. We are just waiting for our board to be in place. Once our board is in place, we can then separate the boys from the men. When I say separate the boys from the men, I'm saying that everybody says they can do something. And we have a lot of people who are saying they can do something
and get them to do it.
Last we are our board in place, we can just select, probably do due diligence and select somebody to go with. And I think if you get a credible partner, that's the word credible, and the partners that are coming, I just want to say that they look very credible.
And these are partners that are coming to help you do your core business.
Oh, yes. Most of them are interested in the core business. In fact, this terminal business is not part of core business.
At all.
This is just, but of course,
this is just a side issue,
yes,
if you
we
like.
call it core business because a refinery is set up to refine crude oil.
Right.
Yeah, to churn out this product that we are rather taking to store. And if that core business comes to fruition, I think the magnitude of revenue we're going to generate for the nation, apart from the energy security, with respect to the fact that Tor will be able to contribute to Ghana's energy security. You know, apart from that, apart from the fact that if a refinery runs, the amount of money that we use to import finished product, I think that quantum, at least if we can have it, it will be a pressure.
And it will have a significant impact on the economy.
Oh, yes. The cascading impact on the economy is straightforward, it's proportional, it's proportionate. If we are doing 400 million, you know, 350 to 400 million US dollars as a quantum amount that we need to import finished product. And even the refinery in this state can do 45,000 barrels, potential to go to 60. 60 means that, I mean, we are almost taking like closer to 50% of our entire nation demand. And that would mean that, it means that we are halving the amount of dollars that we would have taken outside to import finished products. Yes. And that will have impact on our inflationary figures.
So where are we in terms of getting that strategic partner to work with you?
I will say that already we have one that was already signed before we came to power. We are just doing due diligence with respect to how we can conclude that. And stay, I mean, it's far advanced. Once we settle whether to go or not to go, our bosses are just taking crossing the T's, dots, and other things, just to make sure that it is fit for purpose, it is serving Ghana's nation interest, we are not short-changed. And once that is done, and either we are going with them or we are going with other ones that are even within our doors. And I can tell that we have a lot that are within our door ready to partner with us.
Okay.
Then I think we can be in a credible path to getting started with the core business. Timelines are difficult to tell now. Until we settle on the partner, it will be very difficult to tell the timelines when the core business will come. But I can say with certainty that it won't take long. Yeah.
So that means moving to the next step will require you having that partnership clear and ready to go.
Yes.
And then the financial investment will obviously come from that partner.
Yes.
On our side, what are we expected to do?
So on our side, of course, it's going to be a kind of a concession. What we need to do on our side is what we are currently doing now. Let's be phenomenally efficient. Let's cut the losses. We have a policy we call zero tolerance for losses. And if we can stay on course and do that, partners will be interested in partnering with us. I think the atmosphere is very clear. The fact that people are so much interested in partnering with us indicates that there is still credibility in what Tor can do. And even the terminal business that I talked about, the loading gantry, the tank farm and other, that still requires retooling. A lot of retooling is required. And I can tell you also that a lot of people are interested in supporting us to do that. How our contribution, like I mentioned, let's say when it comes to the main refinery or the terminal business or whatever, usually we do partnership in terms of you bring your equity.
Right.
We can do a kind of BOT, that's one model, build, operate, and transfer. We can give like 5 to 10 concessionary period. You know, we give it to you on concessionary period. You operate it within that period. You recoup.
Right.
Based on the fact that you recoup your investment and return the facility back to us to run. So at the end of the day, what the partnership will done, Elton, two things. The capital injection is guaranteed, and then an efficiency, I think, will also be guaranteed. And when these two things happen, I believe we're going to tend to levels that.
And the fact is that you are not new to Tor at all. You've worked there, so you understand the ins and outs of the term oil refinery. At some point in the administration of the MPP, I mean, we saw it played out in the public. Clear differences between the energy minister then and the managing director of Tor then, where the minister said that we are going to turn Tor into a tank farm. And then the MD, who was at the same program in the United States of America, the news came to him as a big surprise because he was unaware of any, and then it became a back and forth between the MD and then the minister. The MD had to resign at some point. Why is it government's decision to neglect this state entity, or I don't understand that we allowed this money-making machine to be run down to this level? And do you have the support of this current administration to bring it to a level that we all will be proud of, that people will look into the skies and see the flare?
Yes, so I'll tell you that the support is top-notch. That's the only the way I can describe it. We have phenomenal support. Myself and my deputy, we are enjoying a lot of support from the current administration.
Okay.
The support is great. The minister is very supportive, and other agencies like the finance ministry and other, they are all in support of what we tend to do. Yes, it's about the policy. I'm sure the administration wouldn't put it in its manifesto when they didn't mean that. And if you look at the kind of selections that are done with respect to who comes to man this, I think they are just portraying that it's not business as usual. I have worked there for 7 years. Right. I've operated those 2 units before I moved, to other areas. Right. My deputy has done the same thing. He was there with the first, administration of Ewa Dakotan, and they did phenomenal well. So, if you look at it, I mean, the information out there is that we are in to do the business, and so what we are seeing now is not surprising. We only want to pray and hope that we can stay the trajectory. But after the support, I can guarantee you that we have massive support from the appointing authorities.
And you are certain that maybe in 2 or 3 years to come, when we are reviewing performance of the state-owned enterprises, TOR will not be in the loss-making category.
Hopefully, we will not be. Once we start, where I operated a lot before coming here, I shudder to think why a refinery can make loss. Oh, it's true. And even the time I was in TOR, the primary unit would call CDU.
Right.
The feed of it, the bottommost part, we call it RFO, residual fluid. I mean, it's sold cheaply.
Right.
Maybe $10 per barrel, $20 per barrel. That is very cheap. That is a feed to the secondary unit we call the RFCC.
Right.
The RFCC, we used to call it the cash cow. It's called the cash cow because when you send that feed that is very cheap and crack it in that unit, you're going to get a lot of LPG.
Right.
That will support what is coming from Atuabo. You're going to get a lot of gasoline, what we call petrol.
Right.
And you know what? The gasoline that is coming from that unit is about 94 to 95% run. Like, averagely 94% run. You know how much you sell? We are selling 91% run. You understand?
Yes.
91 run.
Yeah, 91,
and that unit can give you 93 to 94 run. Far, far higher. So, if you can manage to bring that unit...
it's almost at 95 run.
Oh, yes. If we can manage to bring that unit back to an efficient mode, that's the word, to operate it efficiently, I think we're going to break grounds. We're going to break grounds, and it's going to so much improve our energy efficiency. Imagine how BDCs it will come to a time they can lift from TOR without traveling to, Europe to lift it from. It will be a beautiful idea. So I think all hands are on deck, and Temoy Refinery is a force to reckon with. It's not written off. It is very, very profitable. The potentials are high. Like I mentioned, we haven't injected anything. It is just maximizing what we came to meet. And it is beginning to yield dividends.
So February was 2.9, March you expect it to go up?
In fact, the figures coming looks even better than this. And like I mentioned, I don't want it to be like TOR profit or whatever. We have a lot of debt.
Yes, exactly.
I know. We have a lot. So this is a dip in the nose.
I was just coming to ask you.
It's a good starting point.
Yeah, I was just coming to ask you that everybody's reporting debt.
Oh, yes.
I don't know the kind of debt you also inherited at all.
It's there. Of course, though when they rank the last 10, we're nowhere to be found anyway.
Exactly.
But that doesn't mean that we are satisfied where we are. I can tell you that, Elton, I'm not afraid of debt. I'm afraid of inertia and operability. Let me decode it. I'm afraid of lack of productivity.
Okay.
That is what it... See, I'm not saying that we should go borrowing left, right, and center. Look at GDP of Japan. Debt to GDP ratio in Japan. It's over 200%. U.S. is more than 100%.
Yeah.
Who cares about debt to GDP?
In trillions of dollars.
Oh, yeah,
anyway.
If you are productive. So if I get TOR to run, I don't care about... The debt will take care of itself. So the period about, we are indebted, this is indebted, it's only a double whammy when you are indebted and you are not running. That becomes a problem. But if you are running and you have credibility and investors can trust on you, the debt will definitely take care of itself.
Of course.
Yeah, so I would say that I'm not really afraid of debt, but I'm afraid of lack of productivity. In a way that the way we are not running the unit, the way we are not running the plant, and debt keep accumulating, then that is where the problem is. But I think if we manage to put fire into the refinery, like the way we are starting, and if we maximize the terminal business, what we are doing, I think we're going to break grounds.
Any idea when the board will be in place?
It's not only tall, let me put it on record.
If at all SOEs are yet to be.
Yeah, a lot of it. So I'm sure plans are underway. A lot of plans are. We are getting intelligence that it will be done, in the shortest possible manner. I believe they are legitimate challenge, due diligence. I mean, they need to get the right people at the right places. We are not in a hurry. If we get them today, we are happy. If we get them next week, we are happy. But of course, I'm sure plans are underway. I mean, we are in close contact with our appointing authorities, and they are assuring us that the board will definitely be in place in the shortest possible.
I'm getting so much text from some of your workers that are my friends.
Okay.
Perhaps I will allow you the opportunity to address them.
Okay.
As we take leave of us.
Yes. Come again?
I said, I'm getting so much text message from some workers of TOR who are my friends.
Okay.
And perhaps let me just allow you the opportunity to address them before you take leave of us.
All right. So I will say that TOR guys are resilient. I mean, they are strong. They want to do the business. They've worked hard, and it's beginning to pay off. I will just let them know that we have to stay on course, on the trajectory that we have started for ourselves. The sweating of the asset is real. We will definitely sweat the asset, including the human beings. And the cooperation is phenomenal. The way they are cooperating with myself and my deputy is just phenomenal. And we are just urging that cooperation should continue. And most importantly, the union. The union has always been, wherever we go, they ask.
A very powerful unit.
Oh, yes. And even sometimes investors are asking us, how about your union?
Exactly.
Can we cooperate with them? We are telling investors that.
Elton Butcher and his people.
Oh, yes. And we are saying that our union is very cooperative until now. And we hope that they will continue to cooperate with us. And they are buying into every strategy that we are championing. And I think the cooperation is phenomenal. We can only say kudos to all of them for the phenomenal support. We have to stay the course. We have a clear-cut strategy. We stay the course. We become phenomenal, efficient. And I think the sky will only be the beginning point. Yeah.
Absolutely. Dr. Suleiman, thank you so much for coming through. And he's the man turning things around at the Tema Oil Refinery. Now let's stay a little longer in Tema, because work on the Tema Aflau Road has resumed after stalling for over a year, following an appeal from the Minister for Roads, Kwame Govins Abuja, for contractors to return to site. PHM International Construction, the contractor handling the 17-kilometer stretch, returned to site today. The contractor is appealing to government to expedite the process of reinstating the loan facility for the highways construction. The 17-kilometer stretch, which runs from the Tema roundabout to the Central University, is estimated to cost $105 million and is expected to be completed within 18 months. Road users on the stretch have expressed their excitement about the resumption of work. We can listen to them.
Coming from Dawenya, even they just started, but you can see the traffic is moving smoothly. Unlike the other times when you can see everywhere is choked. You can't go, you can't come anywhere. The road is so bad, and it is keeping too long. But now you can see that the action. Go all the way from this side to Dawenya. You can see that the road, they have started working on it, and we say they are doing good.
I'm very excited as I was passing I think 3 days or 4 days ago, that I see the contractor back to the road. Very, very excited, because the problem we are facing on this stretch because of the traffic, a number of kilometers that you can drive within some 15 minutes, 10 minutes, you have to spend 2 or 3 hours before you are able to drive from Dawenya, let's say Fenya Junction, to Pombaria. So the traffic is very, very stressful. So as me, particularly as I see this road, the contractors coming back working on, I was so excited, and I really appreciate the government for only seeing this. I'm very, very very, very happy to, because I know how I suffer before I get there. Every morning I have to go to Accra, or let's say most of the days.
How many minutes or hours do you spend on this particular stretch?
Yeah, from just my housing junction, it's called Tarazo Junction, to Pombaria. The day I got it easy, it's an 1 hour 30 minutes. That is the day I got it easy. Sometimes you go beyond that. And when you from, how they call it, Stewart Junction to Pombaria, you can also spend 2 hours. When you get it easy, 1 hour 40 minutes thereabout. So we are very happy to see this work going on.
Yo, I won't say you break one. I there because if you broke one too much. It is Mama Timmy and yeah, man, friends say I thumbs up.
We are excited that the contractors has resumed work. This stretch has been a real struggle for us. I use this road every day and it takes me about 3 hours to get to Accra. Once it is completed, we won't have to spend so much time on the road.
Accra. There are 4 or 5 hours. Oh, so. The Omoniana want me. Yeah, that's your damasi.
Meanwhile, the client relations manager at BHM International Construction, Wisdom Adenu, who spoke on behalf of the contractor, is urging government to reinstate the $105 million facility to complete the project within the time frame.
Scope is it's a 17-kilometer project where we're supposed to be doing the 4 interchanges and also the service lane. And the project got stalled as a result of the debt restructure. And since the project stalled, for the first time we had a lot of assurances from government, from the minister, president, and finance minister that this is a priority. And with the enthusiasm from the road minister, that is a priority. We deem it, at the back of his last press conference as well, we deem it necessary to remobilize and start work today per the contract demands. Yeah.
So far, are there any challenges that we could face potentially in the future that could make this project stall again?
Yes, we have confidence in their assurances, but we would like to appeal to government to expedite the loan reinstatement process, as we have also shown good faith, as he's demanded that we should show commitment. This is our commitment. We've come back to the site and we appeal to them that they should expedite the loan processes whilst we are doing our bit. Thank you.
How many years should we expect this project to be completed, and how long is it?
With the extension of time that we put in that has been approved by the ministry, we're looking to complete this within 18 months.
I will say a lot longer in Tema because the regional command of the Ghana National Fire Service has warned that traders are coming into one market are at greater risk in the event of a major fire due to challenges assessing the market. Fire service maintains congestion and obstruction to fire appliances, make it difficult for personnel to attend to distress calls promptly. The service is ready to support various assemblies in the region to decongest markets, helping create access for emergencies. Regional Public Relations Officer DO3 Ebenezer Yenzu disclosed this to Joy News after visiting Community One Market and a new market facility at Ashaman. There's more in this report.
This observation by the Ghana National Fire Service comes on the back of a fire incident at Tema Community One Market last Thursday, where fire tenders attending to the scene could not gain access due to obstruction. Although the personnel were able to put out the fire after connecting a number of hoses reaching the fire source, 8 shops were affected. After assessing emergency preparedness at the Community One Market in Tema and the new market being built at Ashaiman, Fire Service is expressing worry. Here is Tema Regional Public Relations Officer DO3 Ebenezer Yenzu.
Accessibility to the market is very bad, and when the space is not created for vehicles to be able to maneuver through, had it not been that it was where the fire occurred was closer, it was just about, let's say, about 80 to 100 meters from the gate, and it had been inside the market, the inner core of the market, would have struggled more to get access to the seat of the fire. And so we always advise our market women and our traders to ensure that they do not do those extensions when they have the stores issued out to them. They should not. They should make sure that extensions are not done. When these extensions are done, that is where they block the internal routes that we can be able to use for firefighting and other emergency times.
Meanwhile, traders at the Community 1 market have shared their readiness to support decongestion in the market and have praised fire service for helping prevent another market disaster.
Partially bent, but some people fully bent. But the machine, I'm fortunate. Some couldn't bend, but the materials, most of the materials has bent. But even human being, two people cannot pass. So how can a whole fire tender pass? So I support anything that they will do that will help. Any demolition that they will do that will help the community. If they will put that their dirty politics aside, we don't have issue with that.
Now it's a hashi. But I come maybe me say be the support be hashi. But I share that too much. But me want kakakra.
I really want to thank the fire service because they've really done a great job. They've done work because we called and they answered us very early.
Fire service for na ya de papa edi nyankopon din eda wo mase pa nya wo ma enka ye nyina ye kan ye bi wo le ni su bi nya wo ma enka ye nyina ebe ko ba bi bebre.
The team, led by Tema Regional Fire Commander ACFO2 Patrick Salah, has advised traders to put off appliances, coal pots, and any fire source before leaving the market for their homes.
Well, to the Ashanti region, where a group of irate youth of the National Democratic Congress in the Kumau constituency have stormed the party office, causing significant damage to property. Sets of computers, chairs, tables, and important documents were vandalized. The incident is related to internal party conflict in the selection of district chief executive for the Setre Kumau area.
The rampaging NDC youth in the Kumau constituency are upset with the processes and comments in certain quarters regards the nomination of their preferred candidate for the district chief executive position. They vandalized the party's constituency office, allegedly over unsavory tribal comments. They insist they will only support Shamsu Huda, the NDC Deputy Secretary of the constituency, for the position. The youth believe Shamsu is the most suitable candidate due to his long-standing service to the party, spanning over 24 years. NDC Kumau Constituency Secretary Swali Olanto Yakubu addressed a press conference.
His efforts, contributions, sacrifice in the party at the constituency is very well recognized by all. His efforts, contributions, sacrifice is not only recognized by the constituency, but also regional executives and some national executives as well. Friends of the media, permit me to ask, if NDC is given the DC position based on meritocracy, is Mr. Shamsu Huda not qualified to be the DC for Kumau? What disqualifies him from being the DCE? If the grassroots endorses a person as the preferred and best candidate, is the NDC turning deaf ears to their request? Is the NDC giving appointments or positions based on origin, meaning where you come from? Is that what they are doing?
The youth say if the party wants their support, the DCE candidate should not elude Shamsu Huda.
Now, in the landmark crackdown on electricity meter theft, a Tachiman Circuit Court has struck a blow against a crime surgeon across the region, sentencing a middle-aged man to 3 years imprisonment for stealing 6 meters. In the case, the Northern Electricity Distribution Company, NEDCO, calls a warning to criminals. As communities grapple with blackout and safety risks, authorities say this verdict isn't just about justice, it's about critical steps to keep the lights on. My colleague Anna Sabit has more in this report.
Electricity meter thefts are surging across the country, leaving homes in the dark and utilities scrambling. But today, a landmark court ruling here at the Tachiman Circuit Court signals a turning point as the court convicted Boachi Yadamakosa to 3 years imprisonment with hard labor for stealing 6 electricity meters, a crime that's become an epidemic.
We had a call from the customer that his meters were removed. The meters were 6 in number. They were all prepaid meters. And thankfully, the community members were able to arrest the guy. So we asked them to take him to the police station, which they did. So we applaud them for being very vigilant on their premises. Or else, if they were not vigilant, they would have seen him. We would have gone with it, and it would have been a bad debt for NEDCO.
Authorities say increased surveillance led to these arrests. Meters are stolen, sold illegally, leaving entire neighborhoods powerless and NEDCO running at loss. Mr. Billiman told me that this case is just the beginning and a warning shot to people in this business.
We are standing on this and cautioning the general public and those miscreants who are fond of removing people's meters and selling to others that they can be caught at any time. You do it today, you are not caught, doesn't mean you are free. One day, your cup will be full.
NEDCO is, however, warning the general public to stay away from buying meters from suspicious characters, adding that these meters are strictly not for sale and their actions is an abetment to crime.
The citizens, the customers, the consumers alike should be on the watch out. Meters are not for sale. Whoever brings meter to you that is selling, draw the attention of the police or report to the nearest NEDCO office so that we can take action from that. And those who buy, they should also stop, because it means they are aiding and abetting, because now the message is out there that meters are not for sale. So whoever brings meter to you and is telling you is selling, once you buy, it means you are condoning with the wrongdoing. So when you are caught, the law will deal with you as such. So we are cautioning the public to desist from buying meters. Meters are strictly not for sale.
This sentence reflects the severity of the crime. Stealing meters isn't petty theft. It is sabotage of national development, and with this conviction, NEDCO hopes to turn the tide and end the recurring stories of meter thefts. Anna Sabit, Joy News, Tichiman.
Right, and now for some farming issues. In the Doma say, hope runs as dry as the cracked earth beneath farmers' feet. Yeah, desperate for water, smallholder farmers dig into the ground, sometimes with bare hands, praying to strike a muddy miracle. But even when they do, they must share it with livestock, risking their health for every drop. Joy News' Michael Ashale journey to this posh farming community and now reports on a crisis that can no longer be ignored.
As the sun sets over Amenemu, Yakubu leads his family on their daily walk to a stream bed. With hoes in hand and hope in their hearts, they dig into the cracked earth, searching for water. The sound of metal striking the ground fills the air. But the effort yields nothing, just mud and despair. We have relied on this water source for years. During the dry season, it dries up completely, forcing us to dig with a hoe until water slowly seeps through. Even that, there is no guarantee. The water isn't just scarce, it's unsafe, tainted by grazing animals. The people, desperate for water, pay the price with their health. Both cattle and pigs come here to drink. But that's not even the worst part. Upstream, waste is dumped directly into the water, making it unsafe for us. Amenemu's water crisis is dire. More than 500 residents spread across scattered settlements rely on these polluted streams. Bawa Kunde is the assemblyman for the area.
The cattle, they will stand inside the water before they drink, so they pollute the water, they dump their feces in the water, One of the sickness that they normally complain about is typhoid fever. You know, typhoid fever is contaminated food with feces and other things.
Bauer has fought for help, but so far, his efforts have come up short.
I've done a lot about writing into people who can help us. I've done that, but yet we are not getting any response from them.
Today, Yakubu, Bauer and the people of Amenemu leave the dry stream bed behind for good. Thanks to Rotary International and their partners, Amenemu has a borehole and a future.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Randy Fiorini is a farmer from the USA.
What Rotary has done here is provide clean drinking water that will change the lives of generations for this village, and we want to repeat that over and over and again throughout Ghana. Our goal is to eliminate poor drinking water in Ghana.
Each borehole, valued at $9,500, comes with a simple ask: an oath to maintain them. To ensure this, a water management committee was established in the community. For years, Yakubu and his family dug in vain. Today, they simply pump. The water they prayed for has finally arrived. For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
Well, and that's our show for today. It's been exciting having you. For more stories, log on to our website, myjoyonline.com, for more stories there. Whatever you are up to in the hours ahead, I hope is profitable. My name is Elton Broby. Have a good evening and take care.